Hello, everyone. So, you want me to just begin?
Yes, you can. Just,
okay. I'm retired General. Whoops. So we'll get everything set here. So I'm retired General Wes Clark. I was the NATO commander during the 1999 operation of Allied force that saw the Serb removed from Kosovo and set the stage for Kosovo's ultimate independence. So I'm back today. I'm going to be speaking tomorrow at the American University of Kosovo graduation ceremony. It's great to be here. It's a beautiful day. The fields are green. There's lots of traffic. There's good construction. It's very impressive to see the progress here at the university, and I'm encouraged by the future of Kosovo. There's a lot of work to be done, but there's nothing like now to get the work done. So I'm happy to take your questions.
Nëse keni pyetje të regjistroni unë mund të pyet për gjeneralin pyetjes që I keni. Po këtë do t'ju adresohet pasaj në anglisht.
So while I'm waiting for your questions, I want to say how impressive it was to see someone from Kosovo take a gold medal in the Winter Olympics in Korea. I was so proud. And to see the great work done here in film and cinematography that's being recognized. So Kosovo is an independent country now with great people. Okay, here's a question.
A lot of students today want to study and then move abroad, but that's not...
Say that again. What's the question?
Yes, the question is, a lot of students in Kosovo today want to study and then go abroad and work, but today they cannot because of this visa liberalization issue that we don't have to move.
So I'd like to see Kosovo become part of the European Union and in this. But I will also tell you that it would be great to have students stay and work here. And one of the challenges that the government and leaders of Kosovo have to face is to create the business environment here that welcomes foreign direct investment and that provides the jobs and opportunities to keep young people here. I can envision a time 20 or 30 years from now where Kosovo Albanian families that have immigrated to the United States or to Germany or someplace in Europe, the young people come back here because there's great opportunities. You know, we have many people in the United States from India, and some of them are going back to India because of the economic opportunities there. So it's a good thing for India, it's a good thing for the United States, and I think that there'll be a time when that happens here. There's a question in the back.
Today, Prime Minister Haradinaj on a conference declared that Kosovo is ready to have its own army. Do you think that Kosovo is ready, in your own view, to have its own army?
We still have the KFOR here to assure Kosovo's security. So I think the people who served in the KLA 20 years ago, who formed the constabulary, they have a wonderful association. It's a great thing. But if I were in Kosovo and I could count on the protection of KFOR and NATO, I'd rather see government resources go for peaceful economic development rather than be spent on military forces. So I believe the basic rule in the military is you should have as much military as you need to secure the country, and not any more than that. Because ultimately these military expenditures do divert from economic development and from economic security. And the best way to assure the future of an independent democratic Kosovo is through economic development. So I would encourage the people of Kosovo to think about security in economic terms. Keep some of those great young people here. Give them job opportunities. Invest in youth. Invest in infrastructure. And as long as you can keep NATO here for protection, let NATO foot that bill.
A similar question, but to mention KFOR presence here. Now, after 10 years of Kosovo's independence, do you think that it's time for KFOR to go and our army to depart?
Well, I think there will be a time for KFOR to depart. But my personal view is that this is not the time for KFOR to depart. What I'd like to see is an agreement reached between Serbia and Kosovo that would normalize relations. Let Kosovo have its seat in the United Nations, and eventually, along with Serbia, both become members of the European Union. There's no reason why two countries can't be good neighbors. I was in Canada a few years ago on vacation, and I went to this magnificent fort at Quebec City on the St. Lawrence Freeway. And the fort was built in, it had thick walls and cannon apertures and sharp angles, and it was in perfect condition. And it was built in, I think, 1865, finally, rebuilt in 1865. And I asked the Canadians, I said, why would you have a fort like this in 1865? And they said, to protect us from you. And I went back and looked at American history, and of course, the United States invaded Canada twice. Failed both times. And now we have a great relationship. They're our closest neighbor. So I think it's possible that relations between neighbors can go from the possibility of war and conflict and death and destruction to cooperation, economic development, and even friendship. It takes years, decades, maybe centuries, but it can be done. Are there any other questions?
Yes.
Okay.
I have one more.
I am Adinda Chico from the newspaper. I would like to know from you, Mr. Clark, how do you see the relation between Kosovo and Serbia, and do you think that there has been a progress between their relationship?
So I think the question is, how do I see the relationship between Kosovo and Serbia? Well, it's a difficult relationship. When we were at the Dayton peace talks and we were trying to solve the problem of Bosnia in 1995, we were well aware that there had already been problems in Kosovo, and that the administration of President George H. Bush in 1992 had issued the so-called Christmas warning that Milosevic had better not cause violence in Kosovo or there would be strong action taken. And that was interpreted to mean there would be bombing by the United States or NATO in 1992 here. So we were well aware that there was a problem. But during the Dayton talks, President Milosevic of Serbia insisted that he would not discuss Kosovo. It was, he said, an internal matter, not to be discussed. So we watched this, and we watched the tragedy unfold here. So with that history, naturally, it's going to take many, many years to overcome this. I was in Washington at a book conference when my first book came out in 2001, 2002. And we were at a bookstore, and there were maybe 100 people there listening as I discussed the book. And I noticed a handsome young man came in with his girlfriend. And at the end, he came up and he stood up and said, "I'm a Serb," he said, "and I was in the Serb military, and you never hurt us. You never bombed us." I said, "Well, where were you?" He said, "We were hiding in the forest near Belgrade." I said, "Well, good. I'm glad we didn't hurt you. We didn't want to kill anybody in this bombing campaign. We wanted no one to die. In fact, we didn't want to do the bombing campaign. We just wanted the ethnic cleansing to stop." And so it's now been almost 20 years. The memories on some parts have faded. But the people who have been directly affected by the war, the families, I still hear from them in the United States when I travel abroad. So I know these memories are sharp. And I also hear from Serbs occasionally, and I know their memories are sharp. Somehow we have to move past these memories and build the relationships between neighbors. So there's a dialogue that's supposed to be going on between Kosovo and Serbia. That dialogue should lead to normalization of relationships. And I encourage both Kosovo and Serbia to participate actively and effectively in making this happen. This region has a wonderful but tragic history. You've been given the opportunity now, in the 21st century, to move beyond that history. You must do so. Okay, thank you very much.
Faleminderit shumë.